Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
Hello. How is everybody doing? This was in my front closet for a while. It's like an old discarded friend, you know. Of course, my support for the past and future president has never wavered, but I was like, do I really need to create conflict? Do I need to see people's eyes roll when I go places and wear this? That's the kind of guy I am, as I'm sure a lot of you are. Let's just defer. They keep calling our guy a fascist. We just say, well, you know, your guy's old. Your guy's infirm. One is fantasy, one is truth. And then yesterday, I don't know if you guys saw, but I was on stream with Ryan David over on Rumble. Actually, when all this broke, it was literally at the very end when Ryan was getting ready to sign off, and then all the, you know, as often happens in these situations, hey, I'm getting reports that of course we all know hell broke loose. And to answer anybody's question in the chat, no, the channel's not going to turn into a political channel, but you also have to understand there's more important things in life than a fucking, you know, attack matrix table. I'm happy to talk about that stuff. I love talking about that stuff. But good Lord, the genesis of this channel was talking about Journeys to the Radiant Citadel, a Marxist insertion into the role-playing hobby, in which I said, all right, enough's enough. I got to say something about this. So if you can't make the logical connection that I would be against any political candidates that are on that side, you're crazy, you know? So, you know, look, if you don't like this kind of stuff, I understand, you know, tune in. You know, we may briefly touch on it, you know, in the lair, you know, on Wednesdays, but it's not good. You know, the lair will probably never be solely political. But, you know, today might be a little bit more political than usual. Just because, guys, it's like, it's world news, you know, it's a historic event. Now, we will touch a little bit tangentially in the role-playing domain, because a guy who I never really agreed with much, but I kind of always sympathized with and respected up till now, GrimJim, made a dumb video. We'll get into that. First, I kind of want to see. I'm flying solo today. I think. Ooh, look who's here. How you doing, buddy? Rogue Usagi. Nice to see you. I am Pi. Yep. Get to fascism from the other side. Yep. Evil minion. Seriously, Aaron never forgets, and they're seriously putting their asses on display. Yeah. Ooh, look at, we got Krugus. Yeah, that's a first discovered that one. It's been on the internet for a while. Obviously, it was right after the election in 2016. But Ethan Van Sciver always would play it. I'm like, damn, it's a cool song. I mean, Sabaton is kick ass. So, but somebody had the genius idea to marry it up with that stuff. How are you, James? Hey, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. We'll go through GrimJim's video, and then either a little bit into it or later on. I'm going to put the link in here. So if any of you guys want to jump in and just kind of talk about stuff, very informal. You know, I say I bookmarked a shitload of like Twitter posts from politicians, people, all that stuff. We can look at some memes and stuff like that. So yeah, back to yesterday. Ryan David, yeah, I'm on his show. Go up, and as soon as the show was over, I thought maybe Ryan was going to keep going. I would have actually sat, and if he had the ability, I'd have watched it unfold in real time. I almost did this last night, but it's just I was too hot, as I'm sure a lot of you were. I was just too fucking hot. I'm so fucking pissed. You know, I will play one thing first for you guys because I think it's important. You guys all know I love Adam Carolla, and he interviewed Tucker Carlson, and Tucker was prescient about this. One moment. All right, so here, this is Adam's tweet.
Are they going to let Trump be president?
They protested him. They called him names. He won anyway. They impeached him twice on ridiculous pretenses. They fabricated a lot about what happened on January 6th in order to impeach him again. It didn't work. He came back. Then they indicted him. It didn't work. He became more popular. Then they indicted him 3 more times. And every single time his popularity rose. So if you begin with criticism, then you go to protest, then you go to impeachment, now you go to indictment, and none of them work, what's next? I mean, graph it out, man. We're speeding toward assassination. Obviously, permanent Washington, both parties have decided that there's something about Trump that's so threatening to them, they just can't have him. I don't know where it's going, but there's a collision that's clearly imminent. And by the way, the president is senile in a way that's impossible to deny. Biden's not running the government, so I don't know. I've never been this worried about anything as I am about where this is going.
Are they going?
Nailed it. Tucker is awesome. Yeah. Last night on $2. How high is Trump's AC? If you're old school, it's down in those negatives for sure. Yeah, thank you very much. But I guess before we go on, it's one thing. It's one thing to just say, oh, and condolences to the person who lost their life. If you watch that video, the raw video, you'll hear a woman. You're going to hear a woman screaming, and you just wonder, was it that dude's wife? And then you see the people on Twitter just making light of it. You see Destiny, that fucking cuck fag who deserves every bad thing that's ever happened to him and every bad thing that will happen to him, saying, "Oh, boo-hoo, some supporter of a traitor died, boo-hoo." I remember in 2016, for a while I was kind of undecided. I didn't know who I was going to support. Obviously, it was going to be whatever Republican came through. I thought Trump was interesting, but I'm like, let's see, But it was actually my mother, who was like 80 at the time, could barely walk. And, she's like, boy, Trump was coming to our city. Our city's was one of the big bellwethers to 16 and 20. Our county, I should say. And she's like, I really want to see it. And we could tell, this is the last time, she's still alive, but she just can't get around anymore. She's like, I really want to see him so much. I just love him so much. And everybody was kind of just amazed at how these older people just fell in love with him. And I'm like, yeah, sure, Mom. We'll take you. So me and my wife took my mom there. We waited, probably 2 hours before. She sat dutifully and just with a huge smile on her face. And I remember this is 2016. And I just remember the arena we were in. I expected it to be like half full. I started to see it filling up. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, there's people in here, like more than half now. Now the floor's filling up. I'm seeing these farmers up there just look like they came in off the field. And I'm like, damn, there's something here. And, but it was such a cool thing to go to. He came back and I went to another one, although I couldn't get inside. This was in 2020. And we had to actually go on the lawn outside. They'll always put like an overflow. But, you just kind of think, folks like my mom, You know, what if my mom, you know, was there? What if your mom was there? Your dad was just there enjoying, and some unhinged fucking lunatic, leftist piece of shit like GrimJim, and you are GrimJim. You're a fucking piece of shit. In this space, I kind of hold my tongue a lot because I like to get along with people. So I will I'll bite my lip and I'll try not to get involved in feuds and all that. And it's like, you know, it's like I love T-shirted historian. He's a good dude. And I know, but I know he has GrimJim on. So there's probably some things I would have said about GrimJim before, but I'm like, you know, I always thought GrimJim at least did seem kind of thoughtful, even if he was misguided. He got canceled, you know, for saying something that, you know, wasn't unreasonable. But he's so fucking goofy, such a fucking retarded leftist. And when you see this video, Garant, $2. It's not his AC, it's divine protection. That's right. Thank you so much, Garant. Yes. They always say like in football's a game of inches. Life's a game of inches. Doing this and then doing this. What, I mean, what is divine providence, sheer luck? Who knows? Combination of the two. Better people than me have tried to ponder that. I just know I'm glad that he's still alive. I'm glad that he will win. If he doesn't win, there is election fraud, and this time we need to do something about it. I mean, like, we need to do something about it. Hopefully they are sufficiently cowed that they will just have the decency to shut the fuck up, put their tail between their legs. Now, the best of them, you know, will just sit home and say, I can't even bring myself to vote for Biden. But you'll get a large number of people who will fill in that Biden oval on their form. That's basically saying, I'm a fucking loser. I've lost in life. I'm a grown man, and I'm going to listen to my harpy wife who does nothing but nag me all the time. I'm on her side. I'm going to listen to my dumb friend who's broke. He thinks I should vote for Joe fucking Biden. Boy, hold on. Look at this guy. Mr. Dependable. Snake Oil Sean, thank you so much. Gifted 5 memberships. Love you, buddy. Thank you so much. It means a lot. It really does. Especially on a day like today. 104 of you in the chat. Hit the like button if you could. Yeah, that Tabletop Epics, $1.99. Tears for the Lost Life. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like you can't. I guarantee you one thing. I don't know that man who lost his life, but you know, if he's looking down and he sees that fucking picture, he's gonna be like, "Damn right." You better put that everywhere. So yeah, don't ever forget that somebody got killed, and somebody I think got really badly hurt, and that could be one of the worst things of all. You know, if you get somebody with, like, you know, severe brain damage or something like that, now that family has a constant reminder of the violence that leftist idiots like GrimJim. Do you hear me, you fucking retard? Go fuck yourself. Hello, my name is GrimJim. I'm a sensitive little cocksucker from across the pond. He's a fascist. America's headed to fascism. He had 4 years, you dumb fuck. He had 2 of them with Congress and Senate. Do you know what that means? I'm sure an educated man like you should know that. You fucking asshole, cocksucker. Jeez. Didn't have fascism. You know what we had, dipshit? We had low prices, a booming economy, gas at $2 a gallon. People were happy. Well, people like you weren't happy because sad sacks like you dipshits like you are never happy. Because you're such a little fucking mouse of a man. You still want to be accepted by the people who want you dead. And that's your own side. That's how low of a creature you are. You fucking asshole. Lord Mattias, good to see you here, buddy. Like you want to give the benefit of the doubt, but GrimJim's response was completely unhinged, callous, and ill-timed. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, he gets no future benefit of the doubt. The benefit of the doubt was me holding my tongue and being, especially when I know what he probably thinks of me. Like, oh, he's just a dumb. I got news for you, GrimJim. I passed one of the hardest fucking professional exams in the United States. Took the CPA exam in, God Lord, is it almost 30 years ago? Jeez. Back when it was tough. Next to the bar exam and a couple others, bar none, it was like, one of the toughest exams. Yeah. So I do have a brain in my head. I don't need to philosophize about fascism 24/7 to prove that. You're so thoroughly unentertaining too.
Won't fully emerge for a while now, but that doesn't mean we can't attempt to understand it or the ramifications it will have.
How about the ramifications on, like, Melania, who almost watched her husband die? To them, fascism means guy I don't like said a thing. Absolutely, GGW. Thank you, Great Goldworm. Yeah, exactly, James. Thank you. $5. Grim is your typical welfare going. Yeah, very, very womanly. If you listen to these people, these people on the left, these hardcore liberals, maybe not classical liberals, although you're flirting with it, classic liberals. No. But yeah, your leftists, these hardcore Democrats, they're all very womanly. If it just he gives off such womanly energy. Be a man, for God's sakes. I have more respect for soccer hooligans than I do this clown. Oops, sorry, missed. Yep. Steam Bub, $5. GrimJim has 2 blind spots: calling fascism for right and unable to recognize when the left has gone too far. Yeah, I mean, it's you know what? It with all due respect, it's not just 2 blind spots. It's that he's the enemy. He's dumb. He's done. And I'm not gonna kowtow around it anymore. Why would I? Why would any of you? He's a fucking dummy. Fascism. Does he even know what fascism is? I mean, look, if you're talking, here you go, GrimJim. Proof that I maybe know a few things. I'm not just some dumb YouTuber. You fucking asshole. I mean, Mussolini started out as a communist. And if you look at the Italian Social Republic at the end, I mean, it was obviously the puppet state of Germany, towards the end, but he had these grand designs for it. But, if you look at some of the policies of the Italian Social Republic, it's full-on communism. That's what Mussolini turned into. Fascism, Nazism, all that. It's all in the same spectrum. People think it's like, communism on one side. It's like, no, it's mostly just all retards on one side fighting about how authoritarian they can be. And GrimJim is an authoritarian because he is a leftist. He does want the government to control what you put in your body. He very famously advocated for, the vaccine, being mandatory. And it's because, I have an immune condition. The motherfucker, put yourself in a plastic bubble like John Travolta. We got to live our fucking lives. I'm not going around the rest of my life with a fucking mask and poison in my veins. You dipshit. But by the way, maybe a little exposure might help your immune system a little bit. Go outside and get some fucking fresh air. Go to the mall and be around people. Yeah, you get the fucking sniffles, ding dong. €5. Dark Knight of Hibernia. Good to see you here. I never ever want to hear another socialist complain about the ideological brainchild fascism. Exactly. Guys, look, guys, there's somebody far better on this than me. Just go watch Tick History, TIK. He's a former socialist. You know, he woke up and has started to really examine this stuff. He's also a historian. I mean, he also does like straight World War II stuff, which I find fascinating. World War II is, of course, one of my favorite, eras. So he did like a huge Stalingrad series, but he's also not afraid to call out, leftist bullshit, and how the Nazis were socialists. They were. Oops, keeps jumping. You guys are lively. Nazism is communism for Aryans, whatever that is. Yeah, yes. Nazism was it's just socialism, and not based on class. It's based on racial identity. Again, go to Tick History. I learned this stuff from him. He's just going to be far better. So give him a subscribe. Good Lord, tell him I sent you. But yeah, this just imagine, watching all this, and then your first reaction is to not talk about your own country, Great Britain, which is fucked, which is sinking due to illegal immigration. And he probably wants that for us too. He's more worried about fascism on the rise in the United States. Worry about your own backyard, you dipshit. Immune deficiency equals HIV. Well, he did do those sex streams, which I found a little curious. It was kind of funny. But it was kind of like the D&D with porn stars. I don't know. I don't know if he had to take one in the chops, Jim, or not. Maybe he swings both ways. I don't care about that, but good Lord. It's like, yeah, don't sit there and bitch about your fucking immune system if you're living, a lifestyle full of germs. World War II wasn't the noble left against the far right as it's sold today. It was a civil war within the left. Everyone else got dragged into it. Yep. YouTube made me type it that way. Yeah. Thank you, Doc Flamingo, $10. I do appreciate that, buddy. Yeah. It's all, look, guys, don't be so beholden to labels like fascism, Nazism, communism. It's all authoritarianism. Just put it under that umbrella. At the end of the day, somebody in a far off capital wants to tell you how to live your life. Okay. Now they could do the quote unquote communist China or Nazi Germany model and give a little bit of economic freedom. But then I love when I hear people talking about Nazi Germany, like, oh, it was capitalism with some states, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I'll tell you what, go print Hitler's a doofus t-shirts in Nazi Germany in 1937. See how long your shop remains open. Yeah, capitalism. It's capitalism as long as you're doing the will of the state. That's not free market. Good Lord. These people know nothing. GrimJim, people like him, beware of these pseudo-intellectual guys who just want to throw this label over everything.
One of those ramifications is that the USA is now likely to swing the furthest right it has ever been.
Oh my God. This might be in every moment, every frame, the furthest right it's ever been. Okay. I mean, how about when we threw off the yoke from you guys, Jim? That was pretty right, wasn't it? How much more right can you go from being revolutionary? Right. He acts like we don't have a 4-year record. His big thing for COVID was, I'm going to give it to the states. This is a states' rights issue. Hey, dummy. Hi, GrimJim. States' rights is not authoritarianism. It's not fascism. Oh, you fucking retard. Dark Knight of Hibernia. €5. Never forget, left versus right was invented by French socialists during the French Revolution. Yep. A lot of parallels with the French Revolution these days. Yeah, I think I'm wondering if yesterday was a sea change, one of those historical sea changes where you're like, no more, motherfuckers. Shout these people down. You guys have these hats? Wear them out in public. Don't be afraid. What's the worst going to happen? For a while, they're going to be ashamed because because there's at least some people out there with some shame. So they'll be like, yeah, that was us. Yeah, we shouldn't have called him a Nazi. You know what? Who cares if they give you disapproving looks, spit in your food? You'll be stronger for it. Doesn't matter. Puff out your chest. What are they going to do? Square those shoulders up, start hitting the heavy bag like Double D here. Look at him. There's that scene in Conan the Barbarian. Remember when was it Thorgrim or whatever? He sets that trap in the mounds, the the bamboo trap that impales him. And Arnold as Conan is just kind of looking at him like, what are you? What species are you? That's the way you should look at leftists from now on. What are you? What is it about this dumb, horrible philosophy that you like so much that you're willing to throw your life away over it? Matty Q, $2. I hope we do go further right. The bullshit's got to stop. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah. I mean, guys, we don't... This country is very left. Okay, it really is. I mean, if we had maybe like the anarcho-capitalists, I'm not strictly an anarcho-capitalist. Look, my view is there's a very small role for government. They've got to protect the country. There's certain things it can do, but very little. And the federal government, then, you got your state government, maybe they got to do a little bit more, keep the roads up and all that stuff. Man, I don't know.
Pretty much full fascism.
Full fascism. Full fascism is Nazi Germany. Mussolini's Italy. That is people being rounded up, herded off to camps. Absolutely no freedom of the press. This is an intellectual. We're a supposed intellectual we're talking about here. And I hope all of his friends are out there listening to this. Because GrimJim is a fucking moron. It's this kind of talk that got us to what you're looking at right now. And he's just looking at it and going, "Oh, let's continue, shall we? I'm going to give you more of my pseudo-intellectual bullshit because I've probably never had a proper job in my entire miserable, sad lifetime. I just sit around reading books all day because I'm afraid to go outside because I'm immunocompromised." What immunocompromisation do you have, Jim? Seriously. This is the dude that was allergic to peanut butter that everybody made fun of. It's because his mom kept him inside like 24/7. He never went out and ate dirt. Never spit on something and then licked it. Jeez. In his case, that would be a Haktua, if you know what I mean.
The only thing that might somewhat save the USA from this threat is the sheer slowness of trying to steer such a massive, turgid nation any which way at all. And Trump being really old.
Well, which is it? Is it full fascism? Or is it the fact that that's the way our government was set up? Because we wanted to do it better from what we saw you a-holes doing over there, Jim. Yeah, it is hard to just implement everything overnight. It's part of the reason we've been such a successful country in the history of the world. But this incrementalism since the 1930s, since FDR, has been just slowly eroding us and dragging us further and further and further left. So guess what? We're going to drag a little bit to the right, a little bit to the right, a little bit to the right. You know what? Maybe we'll get a little past the center. Look, ideally, you want a center-right country. How far center-right? I guess that depends on your personal taste. But left, center-left, you get people like you who feel like they should be able to publicly say things like this. And that's not good for anybody because you're a dummy. Yeah, he's allergic to having a job. Yes, $2, Jim. Oh, my God.
And not being able to live that much longer, assassin or no assassin.
It's like he's almost getting an erection talking about how much longer Trump's going to live. I hope Trump lives till he's like 100. I hope he's got 20 more years. Boom. Picked up the back half of the sitcom. 5 memberships from Snake Oil Sean. Thank you so much, Sean. Dude, you are very generous. All you guys who are super chatting, very generous. I thank all of you so very much. Yeah, I hope Trump lives to be 100 years old. Turgid nation, said the yeah, exactly. Yes. Thank you, Dark Knight. Yeah. A turgid nation.
So does that threatening, looming swing to the far right justify an assassin's bullet? No, of course not. But there are
All right. So when Crazy Mouse, my usual co-host, has a philosophy, as I'm sure a lot of you do. Whenever somebody gives you something that makes you raise your eyebrows a little bit, and then they say "but" afterward, it means you can ignore everything I just said. So him saying that he's again, an assassin's bullet, it shouldn't have happened. Press X to doubt. Press X to doubt, and only in the in your inner heart, Jim, what you thought. I have my suspicions. I'm sure people in the chat have their suspicions. Let's just say I'm dubious. See, I can use those big words like dubious, Jim. We're not us on the right. We're not all just hot dog eating morons, as you might call us. So no, I kind of doubt your sincerity here. But let's hear what he says with the big but.
ramifications from all of this.
Ramifications.
This, as a student of history, appears to be America's Horst Wessel moment. And no.
Oh, good Lord. So Horst, I love that. Even and Robert Meyer Burnett. By the way, I got into it with Robert Meyer Burnett last night. You can check out my Twitter feed. Made him back off a little bit and not apologize, but he certainly had to back off because he was comparing it to the Reichstag. Gee, Reichstag, Horst Wessel. boy, all of these comparisons, and boy, where do they go back to? Oh yeah, that's right, Germany in the 1930s. The stuff that led to yesterday. Grim would have been Marx's fluffer, says Tabletop Epics. Yeah. Yeah. He'd have thought he was the smartest guy in the room while doing it too. They all do. Dunning-Kruger, full effect. Guys like Kyle and Grim can't leave soon enough. Well, we got rid of one, right? Ultra American, thank you. Yeah, Horst Wessel. Been a while since I remember he was like, I think he was a pimp who was murdered. He was a Nazi, essentially like pimp who was murdered, and the Germans, the Nazis made essentially turned him into a martyr. Gee, why would we ever, Jim? Why would we ever balk at your comparison to our former president to a Nazi pimp? You fucking loser. Dark Knight of Hibernia, €5. Benjamin Stark said it best. Everything said before the word but doesn't mean anything. Yep. Truer words. So yeah, he's saying like, yeah, it shouldn't have happened, but now he's going to play on your the unsaid question. But if it did happen, we might get rid of all this bad stuff that's coming. Never mind that the bad stuff that's coming never comes. Never, ever. Like I said, you have 4 years. You have a 4-year track record. These pseudo intellectual leftists are the worst. Ninjaneer, $20. Just want to show some support. You make great videos, and on top of that, I'm glad to see people taking the time to address this event as they should. Thank you so much, Ninjaneer. That's $20, boy. That's very generous. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, look, even though I don't, like I said, it's not a political channel. I think people could obviously read between the lines just by the topics. I don't like leftist bullshit invading pop culture. It's why I'm always very leery of people who still claim to be, oh well, I'm still a liberal, even though I hate all this woke stuff, invading D&D, comics, movies, blah blah. Well, okay. What do you think causes it? Well, I hate it, but I'm just going to go vote for everything that reinforces it. Dubious. Guys like heel versus babyface. If you like him as an entertainer, that's fine. But dudes like that always biting my lip a little bit. These lefties. Oh, I'm still a little bit left. Why? What have you seen? What do you like about it? Everything you think you like about it is stuff that the right is fully in favor of. Well, I like freedom. Good. So do we. $1.99. Tabletop Epics. Nasally fetid grease golem attempting intelligence. Yes. Yeah. Lower than dog shit is Grim. And as Dirty Harry said, I think I'll paraphrase, a lot of things can happen to dog shit. It can be scraped off the bottom of your shoe. It can dry up and blow away, or it could be stepped on and squashed. So, Jim, as Harry Callahan said, be careful where the dog shits you.
I'm not comparing Trump to Hitler. I'm drawing parallels.
I'm not comparing Trump to Hitler. But when he comes in, it's going to be full fascism. Oh, well, geez. How do they get away with this sort of dichotomy? Do they believe it themselves? I wonder. I really wonder, do they believe it themselves? You just sat there talking about how full fascism is coming, but I don't think Trump is Hitler. What do you mean by that?
In historical events, which, in the same way Star Wars used to, rhyme. Horst Wessel
He has to bring Star Wars up into one of the most one of the biggest historical events to come along. You know, do we say since 9/11, Iraq wars, maybe? I mean, in terms of, loss of life, I know it's less, but just in what it represents of things, coming to a head, it's just a gigantic change. And I think it's going to be a change for the better. I really do. Because a lot of people aren't up their own ass the way Jim is. And I think a lot of them will have the decency, like I said, to just shut the F up. Now, the loudest of them won't. But just think about to the people in the middle, and that's really what everybody's fighting over, just those kind of undecided people who go back and forth and back and forth. And look, I know, but like my brother-in-law is kind of one of them. And even he was saying before this, like, I just can't vote for Biden. He may have before. So it's like I would hope after yesterday, good Lord, I mean, he would actually vote for Trump. Who knows? But yeah, there's a lot of people like that. And they're going to take a look at just how ridiculous a lot of these kooks who are now, I guess, pro-assassination look.
was a member of the Sturmabteilung, the SA, the old paramilitary precursor to the SS.
Ernst Röhm. See, Jim, I know a few things. Why is he bringing up the SA? This has nothing to do with anything. Here's what these dummies on the left do. They'll bring up these things that they think you don't know because they don't think any one of us has cracked a fucking history book. Yeah, we know who the SA is. We know who Ernst Röhm is. We know about the Night of Long Knives, dummy.
The Nazi Party. The street thugs. In 1930,
like you guys. Like you leftists. Street thugs.
Horst Wessel was murdered by two members of the Communist Party of Germany. And after...
Well, some things never change, I guess. Communists committing street violence. Part of the DNA.
After his death, Joseph Goebbels made him into a martyr for the Nazi Party.
Again, comparing a former president and future president to a Nazi pimp.
Taken by itself, this was, of course, a murder and horrendous, obviously. However, disgusting the person who was killed was.
See, he always has to put that in there. He always equivocates because he can't just declare anything wrong because nothing on the left is ever right or wrong. There's always, I got to think about this. Asterion Malek, $5. It's not political, but hearing Az talk makes me want to wants to game end myself, and how anyone can listen to that living soy jack, I'll never understand. Yeah, he's I don't think he does any favors to people on this side. Look, I'm not going to say there's no redemption for former socialists, but I get a bad feeling about that guy. I get a really bad feeling about him. That's all I'll say. I would distance myself from that guy. And yeah, he's so hard to listen to. The screaming, I remember when he first burst onto the scene, he would just like talk over people in like that loud, annoying way. Pronouns. That sort of tone. And I was just like, who is this? I'm like, why does everybody think this guy is like so funny and smart? He just gives like the most basic bitch takes. But you know what? When you can glom on and put your hooks into a YouTuber like Gary, You get it made. Get it made. Doc Flamingo, $10. Thank you so much, sir. We need to abandon this absurd left-right dichotomy. It is at best an anachronism belonging to another time. More often than not, it's just a way to keep people at each other's throats. Well, as I say, Doc, it's and thank you so much for the $10. It's just authoritarianism versus freedom. You can put fascism, socialism, communism, all those isms, those isms under one umbrella. And then you have freedom. Freedom with free market capitalism is the best we're ever going to get. Is it ever going to be perfect? No, it'll never be perfect. But it's the best we can do. And we've proven that over our country's history. Even though we've fallen short at times, it's still the best regardless. Hey, Shark, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Yep, commies are always rioting and threatening to overthrow society. Grim Jim likes that. He's a pussy communist. Absolutely, buddy. Great to see you here, man. Ooh, Doc. Going back to back, $5. Most people agree on most things until you plant the tribal flag. Then their brains just shut off. Well, maybe a little of that. But look, I mean, I know what issues I like. It's not very hard to please most people. And in fact, most of that was done. In fact, I would say your super chat there would have applied maybe to America like 10 years and before, maybe because we were just kind of arguing over the edges, maybe a little bit more than we are now, even though there were still big things, like I said, where the society had kind of dragged us a little bit to the left, but now you have people like Chuck Schumer, who 10 years ago was saying we need to secure this dang border. And now all of a sudden, people like him are literally like open border. We can't have any kind of barrier at our border. Well, what's going on? There's not a country in the world who doesn't secure its own borders. So why would we? Canada has some of the toughest immigration policies in the entire world. I mean, we've tried to get in, you try to get into Canada, it's a to-do a little bit. It's not like oh, we just breeze right through, show our, passports or whatever, or just wave them high. It's like, no. So yeah, I guess I would disagree there slightly, Doc, in that we are arguing over bigger things now. We're arguing over whether we want to turn our economy, if we want to essentially ruin our economy based on climate change, when the rest of the world is pretty much doing nothing. I mean, we have such little impact in the grand scheme of things. I'm not saying we shouldn't do anything. I mean, good Lord, like who isn't for clean air, clean water, but it's just, we shouldn't be putting the brakes on everything. We shouldn't be doing dumb things like, trying to, surreptitiously get rid of like natural gas stoves and stuff like that. I mean, what's next? Furnaces? Are we going to be doing, wood burning furnaces are the only allowable method to heat your home? Be awfully cold for us up here in the north. So I see what you're saying, and I think that was a little bit more true, Doc, like 10 years ago than it is now. But I thank you for your thoughts. I was glad to hear those types of thoughts. Zetro, $2. Tom McDonald dropped a Trump song. You missed. We'll have to watch that. Yeah. Thank you very much. Let's see, some Az talk. Okay. All right. Well, now we can go back to this guy.
Taking a step back, this event was one of the catalysts for one of the worst cataclysms of the 20th century. This was just one of the many events that tipped the balance in Germany and which allowed authoritarian fascism to come to the fore and take over.
This is also what I hate about these people. Like he would tell you like how historically knowledgeable he is. You cannot possibly replicate what was going on in Germany post World War I, in pre-1933. is such a completely different like situation. I mean, they want to fit a square peg into a round hole because what it comes down to, like Adam Carolla always says, all roads lead to narcissism. He kind of vicariously wants this to happen. So he can say he was there. Oh, and by the way, did you see my video? I warned you about this. He's probably got this all like saved and queued up. When fascism hits 2 years from now, I'm going to throw this up there. I'm going to hit play and say, see, I told you so, suckers. Not going to happen, Jim. People like you always lose. When people talk about losers in life, look in the fucking mirror. You're a loser. If I died tomorrow, beautiful wife, 2 great kids, great core of friends, 2 years out in YouTube, boom, 5K subs. I'd be like, yeah, no problem. You know what? I won. You're miserable. What the fuck's the matter with you? Why aren't you worried about your own life instead of this fantasy fascism that you think is going to grip America? It's not. Just look back to 2016 to 2020.
But it was an important one. It was a key moment that helped turn people against the German left, as someone pointed out on Facebook.
Because communism would have been so much better. Because the 37 million people that Stalin killed, that was so much better. We could have had communism in Germany. Can you imagine that? What a utopia it would have been. What a fucking retard this guy is.
All Hitler had to do was to appear to be less crazy and dangerous than the communists. Comparisons to Nazism are often hyperbolic.
Yeah, they are. And you're doing it. So you're a hyperbolic chick. Look in the mirror. You're a woman, Jim. You're a fucking chick.
And were this still 2016, I would agree with you that they're completely unfounded here. And I'm still not saying that Trump is Hitler.
Are we going to guess if there's a but?
But this time around,
But this time around, yep. Called it. I'm not saying he's Hitler. I'm just using every conceivable comparison to tell you that he's Hitler, but I'm not actually saying it. See, I don't want to get in trouble because I'm smart. And all of you hamburger-eating Americans are stupid.
and I don't think that level of caution is unjustified. Trump is petty, vindictive, not terribly bright, and did
Not terribly bright. There it is, the intellectual elitism. Look at his wife. Look at his life. I mean, good Lord, one of the most consequential men in history. Like him or not, I mean, good Lord. And you don't have to personally like him. Like, I mean, maybe if you're a woman, you wouldn't want to be married to him. Like many successful men, he's a little restless. But good Lord, I love it when these types of people call other people stupid who have just lived unbelievably consequential lives, historic lives, made billions. Boy, I am so proud to be wearing this fucking hat. You guys are going to see this every stream from now to the election, and who knows, maybe after. I am so pumped up because I know how miserable this British cocksucker is. Dark Knight coming at us again. €5. Sorry. Worst cataclysms of the 20th century, said by a man that supports communism. Yeah, it blows my mind how he can support something so evil. It doesn't blow my mind. Look, okay, so back to Tick history. Okay, there after this stream, go over there because he starts talking about the early lives of like notable socialists. Lenin, Trotsky, Marx. Fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff. Now, you know, they're not all the same, but he does talk about like some of the things they share, and it is a really, really good video. He who wants to know. South Korea 20. Ooh, thank you so much. 20 South Korean space bucks. But you try to imply it, Jimmy boy. Yes, he does. Exactly. Yeah, he will sit there and just kind of try to imply it, say it without saying it. But he does such a poor job. It's so obvious. It is so obvious. Look, name for me one communist who wasn't a fucking loser. I mean, you see the Antifa pictures. I mean, you see Jim. They're fucking losers. They throw the word incel around. I guarantee you, they are all incels. Look at any Antifa arrest montage, like poster picture of all of them. Do you think any woman goes near them? Ugh. I mean, maybe some do, like the ones that we wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. Malaquin, $5 Canadian. National Socialist German Workers' Party. Party most the part most important word there must be socialist, yeah. But the left always wants to blame the right for them, yeah, because there's been this historic astroturfing where people think that fascism is actually right. It's right. It's not. Fascism and Nazism is left. Always was, always will. But you can thank the post World War II historians for that. They quietly wanted to do that because they realized what it would mean if people understood the truth. But yeah, it's socialism. Like I said, ask yourself one question. If somebody starts telling you like how there was free market capitalism in Germany, just say, oh, so I could have gone back and, printed some Nazis suck t-shirts, sold them on the Wilhelmstrasse or whatever in Berlin. Yeah, I could have done that, right? I'd have gotten this from all the police officers, right? No. It's socialism based on racial qualities, not class. Snake Oil Sean, our good friend, $5. I stopped following Heel versus Babyface yesterday because he needed to start cracking jokes for likes and clicks within an hour of the aftermath on the attempt on Trump's life. Yeah. Yeah, he's not. But you know what? I'm going after Jim. You're seeing me off the cuff here. He's a dummy. I've never thought Heel versus Babyface was funny. I don't think he's particularly bright either. Boy, it must be something in the water over there. British intellectualism is not what it used to be. Now, he does pretend to sort of be like right wing. I would say it's because he doesn't want to get an honest job. If you're a full-time streamer, I'll say this. If you're a full-time streamer and you're in your prime earning years, you're a loser. Unless you've made it to the top, like 1%, like not even 1%, like 1/2 of 1%. Because YouTube can shut you down like this. And even if you go over to Rumble, you're not going to make as much money over on Rumble. you can have your whole livelihood like boom, like that. I'm very cognizant of that here. Also why I have a 9 to 5. It's also why I have some papers I can fall back on professionally. I don't think Az is a very smart guy. But to his credit, some people do like his style. It's just not my style, but who knows? I'm probably not his either, if he knew who I was.
A lot of damage to the USA before, and that was when there were relatively level heads in the room to help steer and cushion his worst excesses and hem him in a little from stepping outside of the bounds of his office.
Oh, so now he's calling people like Steve Bannon level heads. Is that what you're saying, Jim? Come on now.
Despite all of that, he managed to blow a multi-trillion-dollar hole in the US budget, bungled the response to COVID, ordered an illegal...
Bungled the response. How would you have done it differently? He did do some things that I didn't like, but for what was going on, more or less just saying it's up to the states. That's what you would want a U.S. president to do. Now, maybe you could say like, well, he should have said, across the board, you're not allowed to do this, this, this. And even if it was something we agreed with, I would still be leery of that because that's not powers that the federal government should have. That should be given to the states. If you live in a state like California, leave, move if you don't like it. So this stuff should be sorting itself out. Like the blue states should be getting bluer, the red states should be getting redder. And you know what? Let them live the way they want. If they want to live like that in California, let them live like that. Or Oregon or Washington State. It's fine. You got to put them somewhere. Let them ruin that. I mean, they ruin everything else. Dark Knight of Hibernia, again, €10. Thank you so much. Marx abused his wife, neglected his children, caused the death of his son. Say a woman, let's just say wasn't very nice to a woman. Mooched off his communist colleges and brought shame to his father. I guess some things never truly change. Exactly. Yeah, that's one thing that Tick said. All these big figures in communism, they were all mooches and they never got like a proper job. Kind of like GrimJim. I'm willing to bet. I don't know that for sure, so I should caveat that. But I'm willing to bet GrimJim hasn't had too many real jobs in his life. Yeah, they were all sponges. Watch that video. It's fascinating. Yeah. Also, not a big fan of the black people either. Dark Knight. He had a couple choice words. He dropped a hard R to one of his friends in a letter. I always like throwing that up to people who like to tout Marx and communism. He was not afraid to go with a hard R. It's fun to hear him like, oh, well, it was a different time. Oh, you mean kind of like the mid 1800s? Tell me more. Tell me more how it was a different time. I'd like to know.
Assassination on foreign soil and corruptly used his office for profit. Pretty much.
Did he say assassination on foreign soil? Is he? Oh.
Ordered an illegal assassination on foreign soil.
He's talking about Soleimani, the Iranian general. I didn't think I could despise Grim any more than I already do, but I think I do. I think I do, you pig. That's an illegal assassination. Oh, good Lord. It's getting repetitive now because he's such a fucking loser. It's just going to be more of this. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to put this in here now. All right. Snake Oil Sean, $5. Grim Jim looks like he's had a job in the world's oldest profession. Yeah, maybe. Fred Garvin, male prostitute. There's a call. There's a callback for all you old heads out there. Thank you, Snake Oil Sean, very much. Yeah, I put the link in there if people just kind of want to pop in, say hi, maybe give their thoughts on what happened. You don't have to stay long if you don't want to. But yeah, I would. I'd love to hear from anybody who wants to pop in.
And corruptly used his office for profit.
How? How did he use his office for profit? He didn't take a salary, you dummy. If I wanted to profit, maybe I'd take what in total like $800,000. Might be chump change to him, but I wouldn't leave it on the table.
Much constantly. Before finally inciting a fortunately incompetent attempt to subvert US.
No. We all know the tweet where he asked everybody, "We are the party, of law and order. Be peaceful, no matter what you do." His words. They pretend that tweet doesn't exist because it can't exist for them. Because they're intellectually uncurious people. Marx was a devil worshiper. Yeah, I believe that. I do. Yeah, if I had a time machine and they're like, "Oh, could you go back? What would you do? Would you go back and kill Hitler?" No, I'd go back and I would have a private meeting with Karl Marx. I would make sure I'm armed for that meeting with Karl Marx in case a self-defense situation presented itself.
Democracy. This time around, if he gets power, and he probably will, there are unlikely to be any level heads left around or anyone unwilling to go along with his excesses. It will be Trump sycophants and cronies and many of the worst people in US politics who have an open and proud agenda for authoritarian Christofascism.
Who? It's like, who are you? Hey, James. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. I was a little angry last night about the whole thing, but
I was up till 3 in the morning. I was up till like 3 in the morning. I was so pissed.
Yeah, I would like to point out though, for everyone, every single thing he's accused Trump of doing, Biden actually did.
Yes.
It's like they always accuse you of doing what they're doing.
Yeah, it's a classic projection. Let me pick up this. Hold on, let me pick up this super chat real quick, buddy. Jeff from Denkar. Ooh, good to see you here. Canadian $5. Grim Jim is so tied to his punk identity. Good Lord. He has to do this, or he'd have to do some very uncomfortable soul searching. Truth can be painful. Yes, exactly. And that is rightfully so. Yeah, he's still trying to get back in with the people who want him dead. And it's his own side that want this for his, graping article about, it being perfectly on, within the bounds of, your game to have a situation like that, which I agree
Martin
with.
Can do it.
Yeah. It's like, why wouldn't you be able to? They were perfectly reasonable. And that's honestly, for the longest time, that was the only reason I was like defending this guy. Like, oh, what a tragic case. He's, his own people are going after him. But then I started to realize like he will sell out his own mother to get back into the good graces of those people. And then I started thinking like, what a sad state of affairs. What a loser.
Well, for him to even pretend to be punk is so laughable because the fallout, and you weren't around back then, but his fallout with Pundit was over whether or not the government should be able to force people to wear masks and get injections.
Yeah.
And
Florida
I remember when I was punk and had my docs and listened to the Clash and shit, and it was all about F the government. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So his view of punk is lick the boot of the government. So I've
Yep.
went hard on Grim as far as calling him out for his bullshit for years. You know,
Yep.
and I have no respect for him, especially since him and Pundit are having a conversation about COVID, and he flounces out like, I can't be associated with you guys because,
Yeah.
you know,
That
and it's
phony
like, what a
moral authoritarianism.
yeah,
This
he's
moral
100% an
superiority.
authoritarian.
Couple super chats here. Doc Flamingo again, $5. Good to see you, Doc.
Doc's my
Thank
boy.
you so much. Yeah.
You're my boy, Doc.
I have a Grim Jim origin theory. They mixed the DNA of Ringo Starr and Antonio Gramsci, then impregnated a syphilis-riddled prostitute with it. Thank you, Doc. Thank you for all the other super chats too, buddy. Appreciate it. Mac Thompson, $5. Having James on makes you just that much cooler. Also, Groom Jim is a desperate, puerile, pedantic midwit. Yes, exactly. I like to call them pseudo-intellectuals, but midwit will do. All right, we got a couple
like
of
pseudo-intellectual, but midwit is a nice one.
Yeah.
And thank you, Mac. Oh, we got the Ultra American.
Yeah, Dark Knight.
Yo.
How you doing, boys?
And Dark Knight.
Am I coming through okay? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you're doing good, man.
Awesome.
Yes, indeed.
Jesus.
Go ahead. What did you think of everything? What do you think of Jim Ultra American? We'll start with you.
Okay, so it's funny because in case you've forgotten, Double D, I was on the Nerd Cognito. I was in the live chat on Rumble when this all got dropped. So that was the first time I had heard about was Nerd Cognito. I was in the chat. I've been a big supporter of them. Dave's big supporters of me because I was on their show like a couple months back. And when this all happened, yeah, just absolute crazy. Rumble and Twitter just blowing up like crazy. And then, so I've always liked Grim Jim on his TTRPG takes. I despise him on his politics. And this was like the step too far for me at this point. Like, and of course, it's one of those things where it's also like he's British. And no one outside of America should be able to really give like a definitive opinion on what they think about America's politics. UK's got enough, excuse my language, UK's got enough shit going on over there as it is.
Yeah, for sure.
As an
I
approve of Ultra American TTRPG's message.
Yeah. Well, if I could interject real quick, then we'll let you
All good.
say your piece, Dark Knight. But it's kind of like, about like supporting him up to a point. It's a lot of people did that with like Dr. Disrespect. It's like, oh, he's a good dude. He's a good dude. And then it's like, people wanted to believe, the best. Then all of a sudden you start hearing more and more, and then you're like, okay, I'm out. It's like there does reach a breaking point when you're like, nope, I'm done. No more. Go ahead, Dark Knight. What are your thoughts, buddy?
All I have to say is, with regard to Trump, if ever there was a case that divine intervention can happen, it was right there.
Yes.
Had he not turned his head at the right moment, his head would have got split open.
Yeah. Like I said, it's doing this to this.
Yeah, it's.
That
If
saved
only
his life.
Kennedy had learned that trick.
Yeah,
If only
exactly.
Kennedy. Yeah.
I think Oswald was a better shot, but
Oh,
that's true. I mean, it's
Well, I mean, if you're point blank range, I mean, come on, that's kind of a bit slack.
Yeah, but Oswald was trained by one of the greatest militaries in the world.
Yeah.
Freaking John Wilkes Booth would have been a better shot than the guy who tried to assassinate Trump.
That's what I was thinking of at the point blank. Yeah, but yeah.
It's also, of course, whenever stuff like this happens, just the perfect meme material that comes out. And of course, a lot of ones. My favorite one is the one where it's a bubble coming out from Trump's mouth that says "You missed the other word for a gay person." Because I know we're on YouTube, so I'm not going to say that. But the other one I like, and as I just saw this, So if you're not familiar, there's an anime called My Hero Academia, and one of the main superheroes is called All Might. And there's a scene where All Might is standing after a big battle. He's raising his fist in his air, and he's all beaten up and bloody. Well, someone replicated that, but instead they put Donald Trump fist in the air with the blood coming down where he got shot in the ear. So, yeah.
I love it.
What I love more is the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure memes, where just the Stan just grabs the bullet an inch from his head. It's so perfect. I love it.
Yeah, there's so many good ones. I posted
the
one.
Matrix ones. The Matrix one's so funny.
Oh yeah. It's got the meme of like the guy with the glasses crying and he's looking down the scope trying to shoot and he's just like, I missed.
All right, one second. I'm gonna my new favorite is one I just found today. Where the hell is it?
Hey, Lord Mattias, by the way.
What's up, Lord Mattias?
Hey, Lord Mattias, how you doing,
guys? Buddy? I am well. Double D, thanks for running this stream. I think a lot of us need to get some emotions out, so appreciate it. And appreciate you, man.
I'm not an American, but I can feel my patriotism rising.
And and one thing, I'll be seeing you at VentureCon. You got to let me buy you a drink.
Nice. Oh, you're gonna be there?
Yes, I will.
Oh yeah, we'll game together. I'm working on my scenario after today. I was going to do it yesterday, right as soon as I got off with Ryan. But obviously,
I should be prepping mine.
I do like.
Cool. I'll try to play in yours too. Yeah.
Bill M is asking if GrimJim supported the attempt, and he says, and I quote, "No, but
no buts." Yeah,
exactly. No but.
Just like every asshole, they've got a big old butt.
Yes. Tabletop Epics, $4.99. The shooter's last thought. Will this make my furry trans girlfriend's boyfriend so proud? Well, speaking of that, hold on one second.
So the shooter was Destiny. The shooter was Destiny. Got it.
Yes, yeah.
Which Destiny has been getting called out on his BS too, all over X as well. Destiny said some choice words that got him in hot water.
Yeah, rightfully so too. There she is.
I saw that. That was my favorite.
The Hawk 2
spit on a thing.
This is how deranged this has gotten, though. I saw like with the Vosh is showing disgust over this.
Yeah.
I just want to pause to any left-wingers who are listening. If your side of the argument is so morally depraved that a very interesting person with certain folders is disgusted by it, you might want to pull back.
Rethink.
You might want to pull back from this just a little bit.
Malaquin, $5 Canadian. I'll just let me pick up this super chat, then you guys can go. GrimJim is a good guy, and while I think he's a little heavy-handed, he's just questioning the current state of affairs, but he has a bad take on it.
No, I disagree.
Thank you for the $5. I do appreciate your opinion. I'm glad you felt open enough to express it. I disagree at this point. I would have agreed with that 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I'd have said something like that. But
no offense, but is that saying it's Canadian? If it is, well, that makes sense why he thinks GrimJim's a good guy. Then we all know how messed up Canada is right now. No offense, Malaquin.
It's like with Short Fat Otaku, man. It is brain dead listening to him speak. It's actually painful.
Yeah, there's a good quote by a comedian that I've heard. It's like, if the evil mustache man tried it, maybe you should go another direction.
Yeah, you know, because I mentioned earlier in the stream that, you know, I want to give everybody, because the hobby is so fractured. I want to give people the benefit of the doubt and just let our politics be compartmentalized, you know. But how quick that video came out of his, it just reeks of opportunism, and like you said earlier, it's kind of narcissistic. Like like, if you want to question it, you want to have your take on this historical event, fine, but hey, give it 24 hours, maybe 36. You know, let Americans kind of deal with it first. You know? especially
when your whole view is like, it's sort of wink wink, you know, is look, I'm just gonna say it. He wanted it. I mean, he wanted it to follow through. He won't say it. He's too cowardly. I'll give this about Destiny. At least he's he's not afraid to say what he thinks.
Yeah, the masks are coming off. Yeah,
a freaking it was I can't remember if it was Jake or Logan Paul made a post about it, saying like showing support for Trump after this too. I can't remember which of the Paul brothers it was, but I just happened to glance at it scrolling through X earlier today because, like I said, I try to keep up with everything, and like I mentioned earlier, I freaking heard about it first on the Nerdcognito show. I didn't even hear from the news until I went to double check to make sure it was even true.
Yeah, it was crazy because it was right at the very end when we were signing off, and I was like, oh shit, and I'm like, this is for real. And then I was like, well, maybe Ryan's, going to keep going. And, I guess, he didn't want to go into those, into those waters, but I would have stayed and talked about it. Who knows? It might have been a marathon stream, but I don't know if you can see this, but this is Benny G. Thompson. There's no room in American democracy for political violence. I'm grateful for law enforcement's fast response to this incident. I'm glad the former president is safe. And my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone involved. This guy was one of the ones who introduced legislation to strip Trump of his Secret Service detail.
Yeah.
This is Benny Johnson's, one of his field directors, said this. This is a U.S. congressman's field director. I don't condone violence, but please get you some shooting lessons so you don't miss next time. Oops, that wasn't me talking. Well, Jacqueline, you must be a real wordsmith, and you're a piece of shit, just like your boss.
I mean, look at the fact that Biden literally said we got to put Trump on the bullseye.
Guarantee that that chick gets fired.
Or she falls.
And also, like I said in my stream, and I want to bring it up in your stream. If you want to know who to blame, it's mainstream media.
Yes.
Who can't hit the media enough.
10 years
Never.
calling somebody literally Hitler until some idiot decides they're going to be a martyr and kill literal Hitler.
Fundamentally,
So, NBC, CNN, all of them, they are responsible for this. They caused this.
I came to
And
realize
they should be held to account.
I agree.
I came to realize something, though, that fundamentally, I think I know why people are afraid of, quote, fascism. It's because they're afraid of anyone who has the drive and the desire to actually want to rule. And this is something I realized. We can't, this whole notion of we should only give it to people who don't want it, that's a load of crap. You never give positions to people who don't want them. Like, do you want your accountant to be someone who doesn't want to do accountancy? Do you want people to be driving your lorries that don't want to do it if they're not being paid enough or anything like that for any reason? No. You want people who actually want to do the job. Because if people don't want to do the job, they're going to resent it and either going to do it badly or they're going to self-sabotage.
Yeah, but you can't listen to Dark Knight because, like myself, he's a monarchist.
I mean, the more I'm going along, James, the more I'm starting to think.
Well, hey, guys, one second. Let me just acknowledge this. Snake Oil Sean gifted 5 more. Good Lord, that's like 15, 20. Good Lord, this guy is crazy. We love him. He's crazy like those used car salesman commercials from like the 1980s. Yeah. Crazy Sean. 5.
Sunday.
Yep. 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Sean. We really do appreciate it.
To kind of jump off of Dark Knight's comment there, I think especially like in American politics, you really got to take a look at what the politician is doing when the cameras aren't on them. And we can rehash all these arguments that we were arguing about in 2016 about his character, the way he talks to people, this, that, and the other thing. But at the end of the day, this guy has like lost a ton of money. I mean, they're trying to put him into prison. Yep. And I wasn't a Trump guy in 2016 initially, like you, Double D. Like I was kind of like, oh, I'll vote for him if he wins. But then I started seeing like more and more about him and like the energy around him. And
when you're at one of those rallies, if he ever comes anywhere close, you got to go. It really did kind of sweep me, and even my wife too. My wife's Republican too, but she's a little bit more. Look, she's a woman. She likes to, she likes things to be nice and peaceful. But
Trump is more.
Like, holy shit!
I jokingly refer to my wife as a rhino. So.
Despite Trump's words
Despite Trump's words that she will vote Republican.
I apologize. I didn't mean to try to interrupt. I was just going to say really quick, despite all of Trump's wording and how he can phrase things, Trump is obviously much more pro-woman than any other candidate I've ever come across. It's like, I would much rather have someone that would grab you by the you-know-what than these weaklings that we have in office currently.
Well, the people, they left out the most important thing, which was at the end, and he said, they let you do it. He's talking about women that are consenting, essentially.
Yeah. Vulgar,
Yeah.
yes. It's like
Yeah.
I remember when I first heard, like, because I may have heard of Trump offhandedly like years ago, but the first time he really came on my radar was when I was in college, and I was about 20, 21 years old. And everyone was talking about him. And I already knew Hillary Clinton had major issues. So I'm like, anyone is better than her by an order of magnitudes. And I see this guy, and I'm like, what's so wrong about this dude? And I'm watching it live on the day he's elected in college. I was on lunch. And I'm watching it. He's not going to win. He's not going to win. And then he won. And I was flabbergasted. I was blown away. I could not believe he actually did it. And I think that was the moment where everything changed. There's people who say that the assassination with him pumping his fist is the day things changed. No, you have to look at the day he was elected. That was the day everything changed.
Well, that was the catalyst.
Yeah.
That was a catalyst. Let me pick this up here. Thraxis, $5. If you're catching flack, you're over the target, and Trump got the flag. Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Like he said, like he always says, they're going after you. I'm just in their way.
Right.
Mhm.
Truer words were never said. I'm serious. Just do not be ashamed to like show your support for this guy. He needs it now more than ever. We need to shame all these I don't even want to call them like secret leftists, but these ones in public that'll give you disapproving looks. If you even sense that, you need to like say, something I can help you with? Sugar? Huh? Did you like my hat? Did you want to say something about it? Fuck you.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the
No
days,
more, man. Fucking
like I
no
remember like a couple years ago, it was unfortunate that a guy just they like in the, I think it was in the Chop, a guy, they thought they recognized him at a rally and they just popped him. And it happened as well another time where a guy was just walking down the street with a MAGA hat on. Guy just walked.
Oh,
on the back
that
and
happened all the
popped him.
time. If you watch like Carrie Smith, who's like I think deprogrammed, she's on Twitter, pretty good account. She was a former leftist, like worked in entertainment, like was a producer or something. And she said the thing that started her journey, like towards our, kind of like our side, was she started to see videos of like Trump supporters getting that kind of treatment, like eggs thrown at them, being pushed, being hit. Stuff like that. And she's like, well, holy shit, they're not lying about this. This is, I'm seeing what I'm seeing. It's gotta be, it's gotta be true. Death Angel Shadow, member for 9 months. Corey,
I know that guy.
Comparator, and Ashley Babbitt. Satan is yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
That's
And
right.
people keep saying like, what about January 6th? I'm like, motherfucker, who died on January 6th?
Apart from
Who
some
died?
Secret Service shot. Yeah.
Who died?
January 6th was not an insurrection at all, and I will die on that hill.
And
Look,
even
it was a riot. Look, it was a riot. You can't defend the actions, but it's a riot. The people who did it should be punished to some extent. They shouldn't spend the rest of their lives in jail, but they should be punished a little bit. But it was not an insurrection.
But let's say point two things. One, let's say even if it's true that there was an insurrection or whatever, and they must be punished, fine. They have entitlements in the Constitution to a speedy and fair trial.
Yes.
There are people who are still in prison since January 6th. And number two, I seem to remember that there was lots of fiery, but mostly peaceful protests. And not a one of them has stayed in prison.
Yeah, wasn't there like some fire that they sent to some Washington D.C. church like back in May previously before this even happened? I think I heard about that got like no news coverage.
That was after I think Trump was inaugurated. I think there was a minor riot or something.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were going around like smashing up Starbucks. I remember distinctly like some Antifa people like destroyed like a Starbucks or something, like busted out the window and all that shit. Yeah, I mean they have temper tantrums because they are children at heart.
It's like what happened recently in France with the Le Pen situation, that they preach how the right has such hate, and then as soon as they win, they start rioting. Because it's what they do. It's just they're children who don't understand a grown-up's world, and they destroy everything they touch.
Yeah, time and time again. All right, so let's watch this a little bit here. If I can get you guys just to watch this for a sec. This is CNN. Listen to their take. This is why nobody watches CNN.
I do want to say there was one thing that when I watched the tape, I found odd because of all of the heated rhetoric. And that is that after he was hit, former President Trump got up and said, fight, fight, fight. I think what we're hearing from people is that's not the message that we want to be sending right now. We want to tamp it down.
Yeah, I would just know one thing on.
Dude is just shot.
8
She's
years.
mad. He said, "Fight."
8 years of inciting violence against the right wing, and now you're scared about violent rhetoric.
There's that montage of all those leftist politicians like
I
Maxine
saw.
Waters,
I know.
Nancy Pelosi. You got to go out there and you got to fight. You got to take your blah blah blah. It's like they're actually even going. It's not even just like kind of like a metaphysical, like, you know, Trump, like fight, you know,
shoot them. Yeah.
They're saying like actually go out and like destroy things. Trump is just saying like keep fighting.
Yeah.
And let's be.
It's nuts.
You don't hate these people nearly enough.
And
You could put your hatred in a sun and have it go supernova, and you still would not hate these people enough.
Although we are meant to love our fellow man, I think, although he will not condone it, I think Christ could at least forgive us a little bit. Just a little bit for our righteous fury. And it is absolutely righteous.
Yeah.
And even Jesus flipped the tables in the temple. Let's not forget that.
Oh,
yep. That's what I'm advocating. Go out there and societally just.
And I just want
to Governor Bull.
I want to say really quick, like, I think you could probably put anyone in Trump's position that with that happening, and put any random person up there, someone tries to take him out. I honestly believe, I think, we would all have the same reaction. We'd all be screaming the fight if someone tried to take us out. I don't think it matters if you're right, if you're left, black, white, whatever you are. I think any single person would be saying that exact same thing. The only reason they're trying to go against it is because it's Trump saying it. That's the only reason they're saying anything about it.
Yeah, of course. See, I'm trying to take an actual historical perspective, unlike whatever Grim's doing. This actually really started with the Tea Party. I don't know if you guys remember any of that, but the Tea Party movement is really the origin of a lot of this. And Andrew Breitbart, God rest his soul, he was the one that started really ringing the bell that the American conservative had kind of forgotten, is that for the left, all of this is personal. Like, if you disagree with them, you're fundamentally disagreeing with who they are. For the
existential threat.
Well, for the conservatives, for a long time, it was sort of like this intellectual disagreement, and we're all just going to get along. But Breitbart was like, no. I mean, we really need to get back into the culture. We really need to fight. And I don't know if you remember, but like they were flipping out about. What's her name from Alaska there? She had like the little targets on her campaign page like 20 some odd years ago. Oh, this is political violence. This is political violence, yada, yada, yada. And I guess at the end of the day, if it wasn't for the double standard, they'd have no standards at all, and this has just been building up. So like, I'd like to think whoever would have been in Trump's place, would have been able to like stand up and still say the fight. But a part of me, and once I really started looking into Trump in 2016 and putting it into perspective with all the Tea Party and all that stuff, I really sort of feel like he is the man for the time. And I don't know if there's anyone else that could have done it, if that makes any sense.
And the other side of this is, let's look at what just happened here. A president who for 4 years was not perfect, but did everything above board, right? He gets his life ruined. He has his family are constantly in danger. He's lost money. He's had his constitutional rights stripped from him as a former president of the United States. And now an attempt has been made on his life, and up to 2 innocent civilians have lost their lives because of this. What did you think he was going to say in response to that?
Yeah.
Yep. Well said.
Anything less after the
turning
first
point
2?
with Trump was when I saw him on Soul Train.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, Trump is on Soul Train.
I knew he was on SNL. I know he hosted SNL actually not too long ago.
He
either.
was
That was
literally
in his
back in the early '80s on Soul Train, getting down.
Oh, they loved
like
him. The
dancing
black
and
community used to love him. Maybe they'll love him
That's
again
why,
now.
yeah, people are always like, "Oh, Trump's a racist." It's like that dude was on Soul Train dancing with his black girlfriend.
Freaking pictures of
racist, he's going about it wrong. You
Greg,
know?
freaking pictures of Trump and Snoop Dogg side by side before Snoop Dogg started pulling his BS about hating Trump and all that.
Well, Ice Cube dropped the T on that shit though, and said that all of their producers told the rappers that they had to be anti-Trump.
Oh, I never heard that. That's a new one on me.
Ice Cube dropped the T on it. You got.
I mean, Ice also pointed that they were all like CIA feds anyway, so it's like,
right?
There's.
Hold 1 second, guys. Yes, it is Tabletop Epics. If anybody else wants to jump in here, we can start to rotate, folks. If anybody else,
I'll drop out.
Don't go yet because nobody's in here. But the Tabletop was just asking, so I don't know if you...
That's fine. I'll head out here too. So
drop out anyway, just because I've said everything, and I don't want to take up all your time. But
no problem.
Thanks for having me on, and
we'll do a painting stream too soon, buddy. I kind of had to set aside my Napoleonics, for getting ready for VentureCon, and then of course this. So we'll do it soon, buddy.
All right, peace
Thanks
and
a
love,
lot,
bros.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. It was good to meet y'all, and definitely would like to talk to y'all again soon.
Hell yeah.
Cool. Good to see you, man.
Oh man. This is like, I don't know, like, just to bring it back to Jim, I don't know where he gets off. Just
well, again, like I don't really care. I mean, I used to be, before 9/11, I was a pretty radical leftist myself.
Yeah.
And so, like, I get it. Like, there's like this intellectual curiosity about it. It was actually kind of fun to study some of that stuff. But then if you're intellectually honest with yourself, you come to realize that like it's really divorced from reality. And I'm fine. Like, go ahead, have your philosophical disagreement, but like, show some tact, show a little bit of respect. I
know for sure. North of the Rockies, $10. Thank you so much. First, they try to cancel you, then they try to convict you, then they try to delete you. Yes, that is the pattern. I led with Adam Carolla talking to Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson said just that before all this happened. He's like, what else is there? Where do you think this is headed? He actually uttered the A word. Well, he was right.
Yeah.
I hope it's now. Well, I mean, I hope now he's just so well protected that it just can't happen. But it wouldn't surprise me if they tried again. Let's just say that.
I mean, it's like the I remember, like, this was years ago, right? With a certain man with a certain island who certainly did in fact unalive himself. Certainly, like there was, the man with the wars of info, shall we say, pointed this out, and then Thunderfoot was like, how could he say that he was a such and such without any evidence? And now Tucker, like, what actually I think is kind of funny is that the word conspiracy theory, when I learned this, I found this rather fascinating, was invented within 5 days of the assassination of Jonathan Fitzpatrick Kennedy.
Oh, really?
All of them, all the news outlets at the time in lockstep were saying there are conspiracy theories about this, within days, all in lockstep. It had never been used before that point.
It's like that video montage of all the like local news people. This is very dangerous for our democracy.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of like, and it's like, you hear about this thing like how movies are so well funded with all the guns that they get. How do you have any idea, if you stop and think about that, how expensive it actually is for major blockbuster action films to have all those firearms and all those explosions and pyrotechnics? You could only have that with the backing of a government. And then you hear about like Project Mockingbird and stuff, and it's like, well, that answers that question.
Hello, everybody.
What's up, Patty?
What's up, Patty?
Good to see
Sad that
Victor
I
here,
missed
too.
Ultra. It's been a while since I've been. I don't think I've ever been on camera with Ultra or James, for that matter. But hello, I'm glad to be here. This is my first time here as well.
Yeah, good to talk to you finally here in the lair, sort of. A special edition of what was your take on everything, Patty?
Well, I'm sure you saw my rant that I went on with Grim last night. I've been a Grim apologist for a long time, trying to maintain the balance.
Up till yesterday, I was like, I'll keep. This guy went through hell, blah blah blah. Even though he tries to keep getting back into the good graces of the people who want him dead for some reason, But then no, when he made that video, nope, sorry, fuck him.
He has Stockholm syndrome for the left. That's why he keeps trying to get into this. Like what soured me on GrimJim's, because I remember right around the time that I backed his Whitecaster Indiegogo, and all I heard the entire time was I pushed it back. I'm suffering from depression. And then he said, and what really turned me off was, I don't think people would be very mad if I took time out of doing the Indiegogo and actually help people in Ukraine. And I'm like, whatever about helping the Ukrainians. You have an obligation, a monetary obligation to put this book out, and you haven't even it halfway done.
Well, that's the narcissism there talking. Yeah. He has to save the Ukraine. Go ahead, Patty. Did you want to say anything else?
I'm a RPG to save Ukraine from that evil Putin guy.
And what pisses me off is he puts on this this moral righteousness kind of cover where he's like, "Oh, here they coming after me for a slow, measured, and calm take." And it's like, well, yeah, it's easy to be calm when you take so much fucking Xanax prescribed to you by a doctor. That's just your default tone.
Watch this.
There's nothing even-handed about comparing but not comparing Trump to the bad guys from World War II.
He did time and time again in that video. He did that time and time again.
Yeah. But here's the side of this. It's like Double D. What sounds more unhinged than this reserve? Double D, I'm going to track down your house and I'm going to skin you alive and I'm going to beat your wife to death and burn your house down with your dog inside. Or Double D, you sound fucking awesome, man. Which sounds less unhinged.
Yeah.
Which sounds less unhinged. It doesn't matter the volume or the cadence or the enthusiasm. If you're sounding mad, does not mean you're actually insane. What you say and what you do is what makes you insane.
Exactly.
Like Ted Bundy was a very soft-spoken, by all accounts, outward-appearing nice guy, and yet he abused children and women and killed them.
Yes, indeed.
I'm just saying.
Did you ever read the Anne? Was it Anne Rule? I think she ended up she wrote a book about Ted Bundy. I think it was called The Stranger Beside Me. I read it a long time ago. But she worked with Ted Bundy at a crisis call center of some kind. So she got to know him a little bit.
Wow.
And as you'd expect, she's like, well, to me, he was just so charming, so nice, so wonderful. I had no idea. Fascinating stuff.
Right.
Psychopaths do that all the time.
I was driving home and listening to it when I can, and I got stopped at a railroad track twice for trains today, so I was able to type and scroll while I waited for that. But
I'm glad you didn't try to run it. Let me just say that.
I gotta run this train.
This stream is not worth ending your life. Go ahead.
It was the idea where it's like we were a half inch away from our country changing for forever, and that's one of those things that I disagree with. The change has happened. I think I wanted to say somebody else had said that as well, but the change had happened when the courts decided to dismiss, without even looking at the evidence, the stuff that had gone on before. And then one of the other things that I would like, that I had been saying was, and I thought it was kind of catchy, was to say, he took a bullet for you. The least you could do is fill out a ballot for him. Yeah. Greatest fair trade. You're getting such a great deal for me taking a bullet. I'm just asking for one ballot from you. And one of the worst things that could have happened is if Trump died and posthumously voted Democrat.
Oh,
It'd be the ultimate revenge.
I want to remind everyone that a lot of people like to make analogies to the bad men of World War II. I actually prefer, and this is because it's more apt, because originally America was founded on, and this is the thing that most people don't realize, the founding fathers didn't believe in universal suffrage. They didn't. They believed in an aristocratic type of representative republics, right? So, and that's the same as the ancient Romans. Genuinely, I think that Trump is like Julius Caesar. He is very much a Caesar figure, and if I'm just saying, Caesar met an untimely end, and then his son came up. I'm just saying, Baron Trump sounds pretty nice. I'm just
if he
saying.
was old enough, God, if he was old enough, just make him your VP. Wouldn't that be cool?
Oh,
Like Trump's
my God!
It's gonna surprise all you. It's gonna be it's gonna be Baron.
Well, I do think that Trump Jr. should be the pick, right? Because at that point, we're talking about. What's that?
I'm saying Pence was such a traitor.
Trump. Pence was a traitor, but Donald Trump Jr. should be the pick because I do think that that's the great insurance policy. A lot of people were saying that Kamala Harris was the insurance policy that Biden took and was one of his first steps away from the Democrat Party, insofar as them knowing that, well, shoot, if he chooses Kamala, now if something happens to him, that's who we get as backup. And she's not going to want to play ball just as much as Jill and Joe haven't been wanting to.
I always take the view of, and maybe you can, maybe you can't these days, but the VP is gonna be the one who carries it on, because of course he can't run again. So if he when he wins, who's that going to be? Who's going to carry the torch? And honestly, I like Vivek Ramaswamy, because that guy is not afraid. When he called out the media to their face in that Republican debate and said, "You people," and then he called out the GOP. He's like, "Why did you even agree to have these people moderate us?" I'm like, "Yep, I'm sold."
Yeah. I just think that Vivek would be so much more useful, as like an administrative secretary, somebody that can do bureaucratic functions more so than be a face somewhere.
Well, if he gives him power to kind of oversee that kind of stuff, and it really trusts him and says, "Look, I need you to make sure you're my VP, but I need you to make sure shit is getting handled." Kind of like how Kamala was supposed to take care of the border and didn't do shit, jack shit. Vivek would do that stuff. And he would talk about it, and then whatever 5 years from now, or whatever 4 years from now, we'd be like, all right, cool, we got our next president for another 8 years.
And that's the thing too. Like, the vice president really doesn't have a whole lot to do, but Vivek is really articulate and really good at making the case. He's got a lot of energy. He would actually be. I think he'd be very good VP.
I do too.
Not even just considering that he could be the next president after Trump, but like just helping to keep the agenda on track, combating any bullshit narrative from the media, like, because he was an attack dog. He wasn't what Pence should have been. I'm sorry, what Pence was.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, and you can go both. You don't. I guess it doesn't have to be like a firebrand. Like, a lot of people are like kind of lukewarm on Tim Scott. Like, I have a buddy who works, doesn't work anymore, but he worked on Capitol Hill all throughout kind of like the 90s, 2000s. Like, we're talking like big congressmen and senators. Like, he was a policy analyst. So he kind of got to know him, and he lives in South Carolina now. And he actually knows Tim Scott. And he keeps telling me, he's like, dude, he's like, Tim Scott is like the nicest guy. Like, and he is like true, like, he is true Republican. Like, just because he's like understated and like, kind of isn't like real fiery, he is the real deal. But, I think people just want someone like Vivek, someone who's going to tell these cocksuckers to, go to hell.
Yeah.
So take that for what it's worth. I'm just saying, if he does pick Tim Scott, don't panic, because my buddy, I trust him. He is look, he is just like me as far as like how much he's, conservative or, libertarian, those, and he says he'll be great.
Yeah, I like Tim Scott too. In fact, I mean, like, if we're talking in terms of what is most likely, I sort of feel like he would be. But, if I could, pie in the sky, if it had my choice, I'd love to see Vivek just.
Me too. He'd be my first choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even Tulsi Gabbard wouldn't be the end of the world, because I think people are like, well, how can you trust her? And I do get that. I do. In the same respect, it seems like one thing, she has served in the military.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
she is starting to see things. And it's like, when you wake somebody up, sometimes you may question what took you so long. But in the same respect, if they're going all in on someone like Trump, it's one thing to just kind of say, I'm like Joe Manchin, like I'm leaving the Democratic Party, but he ain't endorsing Trump,
Right.
and she's like, she already fought all these Democrats in her own primary. And now she's like, well, fuck this. She's like, Trump is the best option now. I tend to believe her.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind looking at her for 4 years either, if truth be told. She's,
Yeah. I will say to Doc Flamenco, I can actually see an argument for it being the Gracchi brothers for Trump. Yeah, but the reason why I brought up Caesar is that, let's be frank here, there is a very, very real possibility that the Republic, the American dream, the American experiment is going to die. It is a very, very real possibility. And that is a possibility we do not want to see.
I don't know if that's possible. The cat's been let out of the bag for too long. The simple fact that in our almost 250 years of being the free nation that we have been, and we've stumbled along the way, the simple fact that these days we still remain the city upon the hilltop for a great majority of the world. People still looking up to us, regardless of whether or not they'd like to admit it. I don't think that you can end the great American spirit. You would have to.
Well,
you would have to destroy like the collective psyche of, everybody that's here and all of their
it would be if the Second Amendment ever fails, that's the guarantor.
Oh yeah, then you're done.
Yeah,
then
that is the last stand. That is when like you kiss, you'd have to kiss your wife and say, honey, sorry. This is my time now. Like, if they're trying to take that away, no. It can't happen.
It's like in like I bring up that it is because Rome, when it was a republic, and it worked very well for a long time. And then around the time of the Gracchis, that was when the great decline was happening, and it just kept getting worse. And by the time Caesar showed up, it was dead. It was absolutely dead. So I think that the fall of America began around the time really badly under FDR with the deal. That was when America started down.
You could even go back to Woodrow Wilson a little bit.
Oh yeah. But the reason why Double D bring up the Second Amendment is actually true. That would actually be the moment of what would be like the prescriptions, where you're naming people and rounding them up to kill them to take their stuff, and that's basically what's going to happen. You're going to get prescriptions if you're not careful. And that's what I'm worried about. Because if America falls, we're all screwed.
Well, maybe. But remember, it didn't even take 10% of the American population at the time to do what they did back in the revolution.
Yeah.
And, I would like to think that we are well above 10% of people who would have the testicular fortitude to stand up.
And plus people say like, oh, what are you going to do? We have all these idiot like retard leftists are like, what are you going to do? Go against a fighter jet or nuclear weapons, as if they're going to nuke,
like what Biden said.
Yeah. But like the thing is, you have National Guardsmen of states like Florida.
They're not going to fight.
Mississippi, Arkansas. Well, they'll fight. They'll just fight on the right side.
I would give you Oklahoma. And when I was in the National Guard, I was active duty and I was a National Guard. The National Guard unit that I was in, I believed in. After serving with them, and I was active duty for a number of years, did a deployment, and the corruption, nepotism, and racism that I saw. And my first day being where I was, it was, you're a 92 Alpha? Well, yeah. You're white. Okay. And I know a lot of white 92 Alphas. Oh, because 92 Alpha is slave work and we're all black here. And then proceed like every other day. It was, it was racial talk and nepotism. And I've seen, anyway, the levels of depravity for the people in uniform. When I was done with my deployment and I took on a command sergeant major and basically lost and my career was destroyed, I went back to Montana and went back to my old guard unit. And I was like, oh yeah, these are the good old boys. These are guys that my wife had grown up with because it was her hometown. And I trust them. Well, when COVID came around and then the forced jab came down, you know, I watched as Oklahoma National Guard stood their ground, and they were like, well, we're going to pull your funding and we're going to take away your supplies. And they said, okay, all right, you're down a state then. Well, you know, I watched as my unit and my governor said, well, you know, National Guard Bureau, and National Guard Bureau is basically the way of federalizing and putting all of the National Guard guys together because it was better for logistics that way. Well, anyway, the order came down from them, and I sat there and watched captains and lieutenants give these orders that said, hey, we're not trying to coerce you, but right, that was a big theme of earlier. We're not trying to coerce you, but if you don't do this, you will be you'll be failing to obey a lawful order, and you can be court-martialed. We'll give you field-grade Article 15s. You will be kicked out with a dishonorable discharge, which will keep you from being able to get a firearm in the future. This, that, and the other. We'll take away your college benefits. You'll have to pay your GI Bill back. You might lose your VA home loan. And so here I am, and I'm looking to my left and to my right, and soldiers are sweating because they're stuck between, you know, the spiritual place that they've tried to build. I mean, I watched as a couple of my soldiers signed religious waivers that said, I can't do this because my religion tells me no, this, that, and the other. And I said, okay, well, whatever happens, I will stand by you. I'm not gonna fold. And then as the months went by, I watched one by one go. And I think by the end of it, out of a good 20 people that said no, they weren't going to get it, only 3 of us didn't get it. And I'm lucky that I just happened to ETS before they can actually level judgment on me. But the other guys, like, you know, it's one of those things I was trying to tell them. Well, you don't understand because I have this and I have that. And it's like, I have those same fucking things, guy. You don't think I'm not risking anything. If you fail to do the right thing when the consequences are small, then I can't believe that you will do the right thing when the consequences are large.
Massive, yeah.
And so I'm watching these guys who tell me, well, you know, I wouldn't follow an unlawful order. I'm like, you just subjected your soldiers to an experimental vaccine, which only now we're finding out has been giving, you know, young upstart, strong, healthy men cardiac troubles, and they're no longer the fighting force that they want to be. So yeah, I 100%, I do believe that should the order come down, well, you know, I'm just doing my job. So the best thing that you could do is go to your local Freedom Garden store and pick up a variety of freedom seeds, and you should be
plant those trees, boys.
You should be staying hydrated, is what I like to say.
There's a
hydration for today started yesterday, so it's already too late.
There's 2 quotes I remember, just to bring up that one. It's by Jefferson that, you know, on occasion, or no, was it the tree of liberty must on occasion be watered by the blood of patriots and tyrants alike. And the other one I would remember, just to bring up that what you were saying there, Patty, to jump off that, was from, and as much as I hate this bloody film for its blatant anti-Christian propaganda, but Kingdom of Heaven did have an amazing quote from King Baldwin in that film, where someday you will have to stand before God, and saying things like, I was compelled by others to do thus, or morality was inconvenient at the time. This will not suffice. Your soul is in your care and yours alone.
That's right.
And I'm like, it's going to be a hardy day when you, like, I'm terrified of the day when I go before God. I'm scared, but whatever, I will accept whatever he judges me for. Because it's his rules and his house.
Like, I don't want anyone to assume that what I'm saying is that you need to go out and go do these things.
No.
You know, that you need to go out and find trouble. Don't. What I am saying is going out and finding trouble is way different than
when
the hope that there's going to be a better day tomorrow. And that only never comes through preparedness.
Yeah. I as much as black pilled as I've become the past few years since COVID, really. You know, I have some friends who are they're retired military, but they still have connections, and they hear things, and then they tell me. So I said this in the group chat on Twitter that, you know, I do think we are kind of a powder keg right now, but unlike Rome, unlike the Weimar Republic, we do actually have a political system that I think can withstand this, and that's something I have to like remind myself.
That is true.
And so,
Well,
God forbid they don't do any shenanigans this year with the election.
It all comes down to fair elections. Like if people have trust in the elections, then okay.
And if Trump wins, and hopefully he does, I think the first thing everyone, even the Democrats, they need to shore up our elections. Like I'd be fine with making it a national holiday. No one works. You show up, you show your ID to show that you're a citizen. You flip the letter, you write the paper ballot. No more mail-ins. None of this crap.
No.
Because
walk-ins only.
Even if you disagree that the last election was, we'll just say, absconded with, the fact remains half the country thinks it was. And that's a problem. We need to make sure we have confidence in the election.
Well, you see the famous chart, where there's the curve and then the spike. I'm trying to tell people, I'm like, that is statistically impossible.
It happened
for something like this. It's statistically impossible.
From what I've been told, it happened with Bush as well, and they went on and on and on about it, even citing the same mathematical improbability back then, and now it was completely suppressed. I find that exceptionally interesting. But like, I hope at some point the Zoomer generation realizes just how important the Second Amendment is. I literally think that the only thing I would change about the Second Amendment is not the well-regulated militia, but I would actually say it is the civic duty of all citizens of these United States to keep and bear arms for the protection and freedom of their state.
Well, it used to be like that. Back in the Revolutionary War, that was how it was to be. That all men from, I believe it was like 14 on up to their 40s, which is pretty old for somebody back then, into their late 40s, to be armed and to have a soldier's kit to include at least one musket and several pistols, a fighting sword, and a hatchet.
And the ability, but like if there was one thing I wish every country had, is a Second Amendment.
Yeah,
I really wish every single citizen of this world, and I tell this to people over here, and they look at me like I have three heads. They think, but guns are bad and they hurt people. Yes. Yeah. So why do you want only the bad people to have them?
For sure. Tabletop Epics is here. Do you want to say something, buddy?
Yeah, thanks for the talk, guys, and thanks, Double D, for the opportunity. Can you guys hear me? Okay,
we can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Cool. Yeah, I just wanted to chime in. Anyone near a big city, watch your back. It's I'm not too far from Atlanta, and they don't care about your constitutional rights. I've had my First Amendment rights ignored by a magistrate, and they let my wife and me get dragged through court last year in a really ugly thing. Cost us thousands to defend ourselves over a Facebook post.
Oh wow!
So after this happening, they're gonna be gunning for us. Not to sound paranoid or anything, but it's difficult to walk around even just outside a city and not be a little worried.
Yeah.
Yes, that's good advice. Watch your back.
There were riots over here, and it was actually so funny that one of the these black bloc communist types, we got one of their phones, and it turns out that the BBC was giving them kits and flags and instructions, and the Guarda Síochána, basically our police force, was pepper spraying protesters in the face.
Well, there's organization in the Summer of Love. It's like you would see all of a sudden a pallet of bricks is now just available. Like all of a sudden it has appeared on a public space.
This was last year, man. This is long after the Summer of Love. This was last year, and this was like
a U-Haul truck.
This was just after in Dublin there was this immigrant who came in and horrifically attacked a bunch of children and a woman, stabbed them in the neck, and we collectively lost it. We started burning down buildings and that would house refugees and buses that would take them in. Now no one hurt. No, they didn't kill anyone. They just vandalized public property, and that's why I say you should that is what it means to become ungovernable. That is something that that even like the IRA figured out that it is much more effective to commit economic damage than to kill people. It really is. I'm not advocating for it. I'm not, before any FBI or anyone like that is listening, I am not advocating for terrorism. I'm just saying that this is a factual statement.
No, none of us are. It's like, look,
No,
there's a difference between being prepared and for worst case scenarios and stuff
and
like
noticing
that. I mean,
and noticing things that people do. I'm just saying.
yeah. Well, hey, look, after yesterday, everything changed.
Oh yeah.
So, sorry. No more benefit of the doubt. That's why on a small scale with with GrimJim, it's like, yeah, things changed, and you could have just kept your mouth shut, Jim.
Yeah,
no, you're a fucking moron.
You may not be evil,
yourself
Jim. You may not be evil, Jim, but you've sided with evil, so you might as well be.
Yeah.
And actually,
you know what? I'm almost to the point. Like, nah. You know what? He's not very bright, but he should be bright enough to know better. So I'm willing to say he's a little bit evil. Yeah.
No, I'm saying I would say he's worse than evil. He's actually a coward. He's a coward.
Yeah. There's that too.
He's trying to save his own skin. He's not brave enough to be evil. He's just a coward. So I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Well, it's opportunistic, really.
Yep.
To go off of Double D's point that he's still trying to like get in the good graces with the other left wing on the OSR and Green. So, and again, like honestly, if that video had come out, let's say like a week from now, I'd still be a little like miffed, but I wouldn't be like. But like I said, it's just like, dude, what are you doing?
He's like, maybe they'll notice me. Maybe look, if I do it
well,
now,
we did.
They'll notice me. Yeah,
well, we did.
Mark, will you love me again? Will you love me? Can I have some more?
Ironically, the people that did accept you, the people that were compassionate towards you, are the ones that noticed it, and we're the ones that should have been telling you to fuck off all along, but we didn't, because we are compassionate. We are generally speaking nice, and even though we didn't agree with you, we were willing to put up with it for.
Until
a while.
you did something.
Well, we should have. A lot of people should have taken it as a sign, and there's some other guys that I talked to that were telling me like, people tell you who they are, you believe them, and it's like you never want to believe that with your friends, but you really just should have looked at how he treated people over the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, and realized
and COVID, all that stuff,
but At the end of the day, that's one of the more insidious things is that's a good barometer. I don't blame a lot of people for COVID, even though I should, because the fear tactics was heavy. It was heavy, and people were dying, and when you knew even on like a third level, like somebody who succumbed to COVID, or if you were told that somebody had succumbed to COVID, it is easy to be fearful of that. But when it comes to Kyle Rittenhouse, I mean, you would show people the evidence to their face, and it's you're not asking for people to believe in science. You're not asking them to be able to make the leap of faith for understanding a train of thought that they couldn't understand. You would show them the actual evidence from the Rittenhouse trial, and they would just ignore it completely, like it. Yeah, well, I mean, not even petty. Like, I mean, like it was a kryptonite to them. Like they were physically in pain being shown evidence of
he crossed state lines, though. He crossed.
He shot 3 black people.
The same people who literally who defended the COVID stuff say, if it saves even one life, surely our freedoms are worth sacrificing for. And then Rittenhouse said, well, if it saves even one life, maybe these pedophiles can be sacrificed by the thousands. If it saves but one child's life. Silence. Yeah, I love Tucker Carlson. I love that line that Tucker Carlson did with Rosenbaum. He died doing what he loved, inappropriately touching a minor. Best.
Hey guys, I got to. I think I hear Mrs. D up there. I think, and we've been on a little over 2 hours. So
2 hours.
I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. So I want to thank all of you guys for.
Hey, thanks for having us on. Yeah, man.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again, maybe a little bit more regularly. I like this a lot. So
this is
thank
awesome,
you, DD.
Thanks for having
me, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Again, thank you so much for popping on an impromptu stream. Everybody in the chat that stuck around. Saw a couple people here. I think I saw Victor. I see Aaron from Immortal Rising. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. I was hoping you'd pop in. We'll have to get you on at some point here. Thanks to everybody who super chatted, Doc Flamingo, Sean, all you guys. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Yeah. So now you know what I think of Jim. And, you'll have to decide for yourself. And look, if you guys like Jim, if some of you guys like Jim, that's okay. Just know that, he's not going to get any truck here any longer. So I don't know, plug your ears, close your eyes. If he ever comes up again, obviously, I mean, you guys know how I operate. If I'll say my piece on someone and it may come up, from time to time, but I'm not going to, make it a feature, this is just, unfortunate, but who knows? And yeah. And they look occasionally, when stuff like this happens, we will go off the tabletop as it were and, try to, see what you guys are thinking. I think we had at least 140 in here. So you guys showed up strong. Cal, thank you so much again for moderating. Let's see. I tell you what, I'm going to leave you the way we came in. A little Donaldus Rising. So you guys take care. Remember, Wednesday, we're going to have the Black Lodge guys, Matt and Nick. We'll be talking shucked oyster, back to probably a lot more just regular tabletop talk. So I hope you guys tune in for that. Video, I'm not sure if a new video is going to drop. Like I said, I'm very busy getting ready for VengerCon and, the stream on Wednesday. So we'll have to see there. But yeah, if it's good to see that Lord Mattias is going to be at VengerCon. Still time, I think, if you reach out to Venger online. If you're anywhere within driving distance of Madison, it's coming up this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Or I'm sorry, maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sorry, we're coming in Thursday. So, all right, you guys take care, and we'll talk to you very, very soon. Have a great rest of your Sunday, guys. Goodbye.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.